Hi, and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to the guys for joining me. I think just to frame or to put a lens around what I'd like us or for you to learn, to understand, or for us all to share in the next half an hour or so. We're at a kind of crossroads in the kingdom right now. I think we all know that, and I think all of the private conversations that many of us have been having over the last couple of days indicate a moment of inflection in the kingdom. It's a moment where reality is beginning to set in. Things are changing. There's a lot of volatility. Yet, we're in a situation and a time where the future of hospitality, I would say not just in the Middle East, but globally, the future of the perception of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is at a point where it's starting in a very significant way to be defined. And as we think about hospitality and we think about the future perception of the kingdom and how it will be looked at from the inside, and I think that's really important, as well as from the outside, the future is about the future of hospitality and sort of therefore the future of tourism is going to be defined as much by brands that are representing both the big companies that we have represented on the stage, as well as with Marco, with the boutique group, but as well by obviously what's going on at the Giga projects and everywhere else. And the question that I've been asking myself and my team, and we've been really deeply discussing, is how much should the future depend on legacy brand, and how much should the future be about fresh, new, agile, more defined, more lifestyle perhaps, but more brands that create greater experiences and will, by consequence, define the future of tourism for the kingdom. So I'm very comfortable on stage, as you might be able to tell, and we're more than happy to take any questions at any time from the audience. But let me start with Chaibal. You represent one of the legacy players, one of the big five players in the market, IHG, one of the great companies. Obviously, your brands range from legacy brands to newer, more agile brands. In terms, not just from an IHG perspective, because that's easy to play, but from a lens of the kingdom, what is the best way moving forward?
Thank you, David. Sorry, I don't know if it's working.
Is the mic working? Can you hear in the back?
Hello?
Yeah.
Now it's working. No, thank you, David. Good day, everyone. I think this is a very interesting question that you're asking, especially when it comes from IHG point of view, from lens, because I think the most important is in these kind of this question is to have this balance between the legacy brand and the new brands, because both of them are a necessity for any market. Legacy brands are very important because they have their customer base, their loyalty, and they're known. So customers are familiar with it. So these forms the foundation of any market, especially when you have a very market that is growing very fast. You need to establish the market quickly, and you need to pull this crowd. So the legacy brand are a very important component in it. This being said, new brands are important as long as these brands are actually fitting a certain gap in the market. It's just, we cannot just add a brand to add a brand. As long as these brands are actually attending for a new customer preference and differentiating itself and finding a unique position in the market, then it becomes an important. And these new brands will bring innovation, freshness, adaptability for the market, and actually will help in the growth of the market. So it's a mix of both. And I think a balanced strategy is very important. And actually, in IG itself, we have a very balanced portfolio because we like to see that we are building brands that last. So any introduction of new brand should attend for a very specific need.
But if you not take off your IHG cap, but you look at it through the lens of the future of the kingdom, obviously it's some form of balance, but how does that balance play out in your eyes?
I think if we move a little bit the hospitality out of the way, brands are brands. So the equity of a brand are as equal, the success of a brand is equal to its brand equity. So the brands that last are the brand that actually the mother company or the owner of that brand that continue to invest in it. When we say legacy brand, I don't think we mean that they are old brands, because as long as you are investing and continue to invest in these brands, they continue to persist because it's important to have these brands to last. Today, a new brand in 20 years is a legacy brand. So I think this is not how we see it. We see it that each brand needs to continue. We need to continue to invest in it, whether it's our own brand or any other operator, or actually it's a collection brand. Take, for instance, any individual hotel that has its own trademark or its own brand. It needs a continuous investment to refresh itself, to attend for the new consumer needs. Otherwise, you just lose the position, you lose the brand, and it becomes a dying brand, then you're out from the market.
Makram?
I think, David, the market needs both. Legacy brands. Legacy brands bring stability, they bring confidence, they bring loyalty, they bring trends to the market. On the other hand, new brands, they are more agile, they are more vibrant, they are more creative. And sometimes the market needs a twist or something new to be able to create a breakthrough in the market. But the market needs both for sure. And it depends on city, let's say in Saudi, if we're talking first tier city, second or third tier. It depends on the market, it depends on the demand, it depends on also, to a certain extent, David, I think the landscape, the attractions. Al-Ula needs a flamboyant brand. Yes, a legacy brand would flourish for sure, but a flamboyant brand, a vibrant brand would make a difference.
But it's true, and Alula's a very good example. And obviously, there's the banyan tree, there's Habitas, and there's the Cloud. I think it's the Cloud 7 brand, which is already in Alula. Alula itself, as a destination, is a rich heritage destination. What impact? And again, I'm asking you all as experts rather than your representatives of your own brands. Habitas is a really interesting example of a brand that brought a freshness to a point to the Alula destination.
Exactly. This is what the destination needed, because a legacy brand, I think, in a destination like Al-Ula would be too rigid. It would be too heavy. Yes, I mean, there is history behind it, there is loyalty behind it, there are a lot of solid fundamentals behind the legacy brand, but something, I wouldn't say tailor-made, but fancy enough to suit the environment. The type of people that would go and explore and go around Al-Ula are not, the rigid customer that would stay in a Rotana or in an Intercon.
Right. Marco?
Thank you. The way I see it, or from a perspective of where I'm sitting currently with a boutique group, the legacy brands, they come in, they have an opportunity to plant their flags within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So you have Vision 2030, which is supporting the most aspirational growth of brands and collection of brands and development of tourism that any of us have ever seen on this panel or in this room, which means that everybody has to collaborate. So all the big players, the IHEs and the Marriotts, and everybody has to come to the table to do their part. What I think is very interesting is you have a lot of these newer brands that are actually coming to Saudi Arabia, because the Saudi Arabia as a country is youthful by nature, and incredibly interested in all the novelties that are happening. So you're actually seeing already new brands coming into Saudi Arabia and being actually quite successful. So there is that curiosity that I think you can feed off from the GCC. And the legacy brands, I think, as Ray mentioned, I think that's almost like the brand standard of legitimizing a new destination, and they come in with all their level of expertise that then the country's tourism can grow from. In terms of boutique group, we have a certain unfair advantage that we're a brand that's being grown from within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and linked to these heritage palaces. As palaces themselves are legacies in themselves. So we're not a legacy brand, but we have legacy product that we're launching into a new brand.
Yeah, I think the boutique group is if not certainly at the highest level, the paragon or the purest example of what will define the perception of the kingdom as we go forward, as precisely as you say, as that boutique, that perception of I hate the word, but that perception of luxury, that perception of the highest level of experience, all of those amazing things that you're going to do. But when we look at the boutique group, are guests going to be coming to the palaces as individuals, or are they going to be coming as, like with Aman or a similar type of brand, for the boutique experience? And in the sort of second part of that question is, how will that define the highest level of hospitality in the kingdom?
Well, it's interesting enough, the boutique group, so I arrived about 9 months ago, and I already knew about the boutique group before I even landed in Riyadh. So for something that's extremely specific to what that product and to what the vision for boutique group, I was already hearing about it in London and New York, at least within my circles, which is the space of luxury. So I would say that the boutique group will actually be the initial attraction. We're already seeing. We were recently in the big the big recent horse race that we had. The biggest prize. So there's a lot of that name boutique group has been floating out there in that luxury space for a bit of time right now. So now we're going through that whole opportunity for proof of concept with these legacy product and delivering on the promises that we've been putting out to the market.
It's very interesting, because I think that in your case in particular, that the brand of boutique, or the projection of the brand of boutique, will be an incredibly desirable attraction for the kingdom. And in some ways that's, so to speak, a little bit easier. But for Makram, for yourself, and for Rotana, I won't say legacy, but very well known, very well established brands. How much does Rotana play a part, or how much in what I'm calling in this future perception of the kingdom? What do you bring to the table?
David, we bring, again, confidence with our brand. We bring reputation. We bring people that have tried us everywhere else that want to try us again in Saudi. But that's not it. We are constantly, and we are actually right now working on sharpening our brands. Making them a bit more suitable for the market, not only in Saudi, but
how much do you need to adapt here?
To a certain extent, quite a lot. Again, it depends where we are. If we are in the key cities like Riyadh and Jeddah,
right,
we don't really need to adapt that much. We definitely need to adapt to every market and every city we're in. But If again we take the example of Al Ula or the Red Sea or Tabuk or anywhere else, we have to adapt quite a lot. And what we would probably do is not only create a new brand for such destinations, because you cannot create a new brand for every destination you go to. There has to be some legacy behind the new brand as well, some engine, some foundation, some support for the new brand. We would adjust it to suit the market. We would, for example, in these secondary and third-tier cities, look for local produce, look for a local concierge that would direct people to visit certain destinations, and we would encourage local art, sculptures and paintings and so on. So we would tend to adapt our brand to a certain extent to suit the market where we're in, but not in Riyadh or Jeddah or where these bigger cities.
It's really interesting because, as I sort of framed the session around the perception of the kingdom itself and the responsibility, Chaibal, that we all have. I mean, I have as a branding professional, but we all have in terms of playing our part, right? Because it's up to individual owners. It's not just always up to a PIF entity or to the kingdom itself. It's up to individual owners or landowners or whatever it is that will make a deal with you. But the responsibility is upon you guys, particularly the dev guys, to form, each hotel that is created or resort or whatever it is that's created is going to have its own, it's going to be a part of the jigsaw puzzle, so to speak. How do you react to that? If an owner comes to you and says, I want an intercontinental, I've dreamt about an intercontinental, I want to have it. It has to be an intercontinental or a Holiday Inn or whatever it is. And when you play both sides, how do you manage? What do you think you should do?
Well, thank you. It's my starting point.
Sorry?
Our starting point has been always the product. It's the market itself, what we can bring value, because you have to bring value. If you don't bring value on the table, whether on the market, for Saudi market, or for a certain owner, you're not gonna do anything, because it's not a matter of signing the deal and after a few years you have to operate it, you have to generate these revenue, these return on investment, because this is what it is at the end. So from that perspective, we look at the product and we have shifted considerably our brands and our approach. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that we've been here since 1975 and all this. However, what's important is we invested in these brands. And actually, currently, we have 100% commitment with all our owners that have tired property to upgrade these properties. And I say upgrade these properties not to reflect the brand standard, but actually to bring them to the brand that has been updated for today's age in order to be competitive. And this is very important. And what we have done lately, for the past 2 years, we've been working Holiday Inn and Holiday Express, which is a very legacy brand. So we have actually worked what we call a reimagine of Holiday Inn and Holiday Express, and we have adapted for Saudi market. And we are in the process actually to launch it very soon and with our investors and show them how we adapted to the Saudi market. This is one example of the things that we have done. Then the flexibility that we have, we introduced actually lately, for the past 2 years, we introduced the Vignette collection, since we're talking about the collection brand. And
I was going to come on to collection brands. Hold the collection
because
brand.
the collection brand is a very important. This is what gives the owner the flexibility to adjust, adapt at any given time for any different product, for any different market. As long as you have the engine, then it becomes very easy to just adapt it to the market.
Right. But again, I want to, in terms of our collective responsibility, and probably many of the guests in the room, our responsibility is defining on a bigger scale, on a more important scale, is playing our part in defining the future of the kingdom. So in terms of, to Makram's point, in terms of looking at local produce, looking at local cultural retreats, whatever it is, it's the brand that can adapt, that perhaps can be the most agile in order to, sure, it needs to be profitable, sure, it needs to talk to the audience, sure, it needs to do all of those things. But what I'm talking about is the definition of the perception of a cultural icon, for want of a better word, or a cultural piece that is going to play its part in, not just in Riyadh or Jeddah, because it's difficult to have that much impact, but on a secondary or in a tertiary destination, you have a huge impact. If there's a Holiday Inn and only one Holiday Inn in a tertiary destination, that Holiday Inn becomes an icon of the destination and becomes a part of the culture of the destination. And is it, as Saudi Arabia grows, as the kingdom grows, it's that perception that I'm fascinated by.
I think, David, maybe to get to your point, sometimes it's not only about adapting the brand, fine-tuning, sharpening the brand to suit the local market or, the second-tier, third-tier city. Sometimes it takes a bit more than that, and it takes understanding the market. Because you can adapt, you can adjust, but maybe it's not suitable for where you're going. It's not suitable for what you want to do. So it takes a lot more of understanding and, an in-depth, I wouldn't say analysis, but better understanding of who the people are, what the people want, who comes to the region. If you go to Al Jouf, for example, in Saudi, it's an agricultural city or destination. Would you put in a Holiday Inn or a Centro or any other, a limited service brand straightforward over there? Or do you need to adapt it to suit the agriculture market? Or, it takes a bit more than fine-tuning the brand to suit
That's exactly
the
my
destination.
point. That's exactly my point. And I think that's our responsibility.
Yeah, if I can add to
Marco.
that, I think what's actually very interesting is one brand that we're kind of skipping a little bit is brand Saudi Arabia. So you have this massive effort from Saudi Tourism Authority, all the various giga projects, and no matter where you are in the world, before watching BBC, before going to bed, there's a good chance you're going to see something somewhere on Saudi Arabia. So you're actually putting out like this kind of global promise on what that destination is all about. And then we as lucky hoteliers, we have to come up with the goods. We have to come up with that, with fulfilling the promise of what that destination
Correct.
is going to fulfill. And it's multi-dimensional. It's in a vast country, and it goes everything from sea to mountain to city to culture to airport hotels, and it even links up to the airlines. Because a new airline will be coming up. So I think we all have kind of our own little responsibilities to be part of that, because the success of the Saudi Arabian story and growth of tourism as a destination will be actually everybody kind of working on that, on delivering that promise.
Expectations are high.
Yeah, expectations are very
Big
high.
time.
Yes.
It's absolutely, you've nailed it. You're absolutely, Marco, in my opinion, you're absolutely right. And that's where, there is a slight disconnect between ambition or business ambition and responsibility. Because the market, and that's the point that I was making at the beginning, the market is so volatile. The market is changing so fast. There's so much happening and there's so much opportunity that it's, I think, incumbent upon all of us to take that responsibility very, very seriously. I did want to come to, you brought it up. In terms of demand, and obviously Marco is kind of the perfect candidate for this, but let's come on to him in a second. In terms of the balance between collection and brand. So are you seeing more, from our point of view, both in the kingdom and outside, the demand that we're seeing from owners and from you guys, from the big brands, for collection is becoming I would say almost rampant. Are you seeing the same thing here?
Yes, we can see it. I can tell you, at least from our experience from IG, we just launched our collection brand 2 years ago, and in a matter of just 2 years, we just signed already 25, and actually 8 out of it is in the Middle East, which shows owners wants to invest in the collection brand because they started to see that there is benefit in a collection brand. Of course, we behave more as the parent company. They behave more as their own, brand, and they develop it themselves. There's a lot
Why
of...
do you think that is? What are the motivations on the ownership side?
On the ownership side, when you develop your own brand, you're pretty much the owners. You have the ownership of that brand, and unlike hard brand, the collection brand can allow you to quickly adapt to any market, to any changes, because you can make these decisions very quickly. The parent brand becomes your infrastructure, your support, your marketing, and all this, and the operation standard, and all these kind of things. So from a product perspective, offering that will allow you further agility, and it allow you to adapt faster. This being said, the cost of it comes at a certain cost, because when you are with hard brand are doing the exercise, it takes more time, and they invest all this for you. When you are a collection brand, you have to take these initiatives. However, as we say, it can goes in both ways. When you go to a collection brand, if you don't know the product, you're not in the hospitality, you're not in the market, you actually might hurt yourself, because you need to continue breathe your hotel, stay there, and ensure that you are hearing the beat of the market and the consumer and preferences, and you're still up to date. Otherwise, you're just going to create something. It's going to happen for the 2-3 years, and then suddenly it goes to die if you're not close to it.
How much are you we're running a little bit short on time, but just briefly, how complex is it from an IHG point of view to sustain brand value, improve brand value within the individuals for the collection?
It is a continuous discussion with the owner. I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to say it's not hard work. It is hard work, because we have to go through the journey together. It's easier to go alone through the journey because we've done it so many times, but when you want to take two parties in the same journey to align, this is where the most difficult, not difficult, I will say that we have to invest time. Both parties has to invest time to ensure that they are going towards the same objective.
Makram?
I think, David, the confidence that we need to give to every hotel owner is that Rotana is still behind them, even if it's a collection brand. They still have the support, they still have the engines, they still have the distribution, they still have the operational know-how that is supporting a collection brand. No matter how flexible, a product is, bigger room, smaller room, or whatever else that we find acceptable to be flexible with, there has to be this support, this, structure behind a collection brand.
Which sort of plays in spades, Marco, to you, right? You have the ultimate collection.
Yeah. As mentioned earlier on, it's a slight, hate mentioning it, but that unfair advantage. I mean, we are Saudi-born. We have the legacy, so it's up to us to navigate and conceptualize what that means, and what is that hospitality of generosity. How does that actually translate into service? But it's certainly, I guess, exciting times for all.
Okay, gentlemen, we've got 1 minute left. Let me ask you, Marco, first. To what level will hospitality brands define the future of tourism in the kingdom? You have 20-second answer.
Extremely high level and quite complex. So we'll go through everything will have to be integrated at some time, because you're talking about creation of various new destinations. So everything has to kind of link up, everything from airlines to airports to the hotel, to the schooling.
Hotel companies will definitely be big players in shaping up the Saudi market, among other. I mean,
sure,
definitely.
Other than the competitive edge, I think there's one word, collaborative efforts, because
Collaborative.
efforts between brands, between the operator, the investors and everything, because everyone will push to establish the market, and will have the same common objective. We're going to push for new practices, sustainable, and we're going to give the competitive edge not only for the market, but from the market of Saudi versus other market. And this is when you have a good portfolio of brands on a country level, it will bring the market itself against other markets, and this is important.
I agree with you. And I think that what we're seeing where Saudi is different from many other places are the partnerships, be it through government, be it through other PIF agencies that are driving tourism, or be it through you guys. And we all, and I think the message I'd suggest leaving everyone with is we have a huge responsibility, and we need to take that very seriously, because to a greater or lesser extent, we will define the future of tourism to Saudi Arabia. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Okay,
Ladies
thank you,
and gentlemen,
David.
thank you very much.